Please welcome Jeffrey Runner, Vice Provost and Dean for Undergraduate Education, who will introduce the class of 2024 undergraduate student speaker.
It is my pleasure to introduce Emily Bonanno as this year's undergraduate student speaker. Emily is a candidate to receive a Bachelor of Science degree in biochemistry with a minor in music, specializing in piano and violin performance. She has conducted RNA biochemistry research in the university's AB Cardiovascular Research Institute, while also holding leadership roles, including the Chief Justice of the Student Government's All-Campus Judicial Council, the President of the Pre-Law Society, as an award-winning captain in our mock trial program. She's the recipient of this year's Percy Dutton Prize, which has been awarded annually since 1946, to a member of the graduating class who has excelled in wholesome, unselfish, and helpful influence among their fellow students. Please give a warm welcome to Emily Bonanno.
Thank you, Dean Runner, for the warm welcome, and thank you to the Board of Trustees and President Mangelsdorf for the invitation to speak here today. Good morning, family, friends, faculty, and graduates of the class of 2024. I'd like to share a story set in my sophomore year during my first week of classes. I was particularly excited for the genetics lab, as it was my first in-person lab class. On the first day of lab, we were tasked with catching different types of insects by the river to learn how to purify and extract their DNA for further experiments. After several minutes of successful capturing, I encountered a grave problem. The classmate standing next to me had stepped on a yellow jacket nest. I think you see where this is going. Given our mascot, I think it's pretty apt that I, quote, felt the sting during my first week on campus. You're bound to get stung a few times in college, but it's how you recover from it that matters. In commitment to our motto, ever better, this little episode made me determined to teach that class in the future, so someone could warn the students of where not to walk when catching the insects. I ended up teaching the genetics lab for 2 years in a row. When asked to be the undergraduate speaker at Commencement, I was so honored, but capturing the spirit of a class put through so many challenges seemed like a tall order. We're a tight-knit class, fairly small, especially compared to the swarms of freshmen and sophomores that have recently joined the university. And we know we're an unusual class, having started during the pandemic. We hear all too often phrases like, "Oh my gosh, you never went to prom," or "It's such a shame that you didn't get a real high school graduation." Yeah, we know. It's true. Many of us did not get to enjoy these events in high school, which typically bring an air of finality to such important chapters in one's life. I don't want to minimize the impact of the pandemic, but by the same token, our class is so much more than COVID. Like many of you, I studied remotely my freshman year, and college from home is just different. In hindsight, it doesn't really feel like college. It can be isolating. You miss out on many of the in-person events that college has to offer, and even just those little interactions with people throughout the day that we once took for granted, like stopping to talk to a friend in the library, or partaking in the frantic chatter with your classmates after a particularly hard lecture or exam. A number of you studied in person freshman year, but I've heard that your experiences were not much different. Fortunately, we did eventually get a college experience. Our fair share of dinners with friends, D-Days, events, and parties. We've spent countless hours in the libraries, and we found our places on campus where we like to be. We've been able to pursue our passions in clubs and sports, and we've made friends and connections, some of whom we'll have for life. If anything, Being in the class of 2024 is special because the challenges made us appreciate all that we have done and all that we do a little more. During my remote study, time felt somewhat abstract. For many of us, days during the pandemic seemed to blur together since we didn't leave our homes or rooms that often. This made me realize that time is so important. When you treat time like it's precious, you can accomplish a lot. And as Rochester graduates, I know that many of you are so talented with your time management, juggling your many interests, majors, minors, and extracurriculars. But what life during the pandemic really taught me was the importance of being wise with one's time and being present for those you care about. I have to thank my amazing family and wonderful friends for their endless love and support. And from them, I've learned to live in the moment, seize the day, and appreciate the joys in life. Today's event is one of these joys. It is our moment as a class, our ever-resilient class, to bask in the joy of becoming a Rochester graduate. It's finally our time to get closure on this chapter, and I must say, it's pretty nice. Times are trying, but that's nothing new to our class. My grandma always says, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. We've proven that we're tough, and now it's time to get going. It's time to make the world ever better. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2024.